What's up everybody, Jack here from Half Chrome, and this is the Emax Nanoscout. And you can see that it is a smaller little quad than we're used to from Emax, right? The Tiny Hawk is traditionally a 75mm whoop, but this is a standard 65. This is a little guy. A lot of people like smaller 65mm style quads when they're tiny whoop racing, and this guy fits that bill. But it is different in a lot of ways than most other quads that are coming out today. You can buy this drone as a standalone unit, or you can buy the ready-to-fly package. You get a controller, you get your goggles, you get a nice carrying case, and all the other goodies that you're gonna need to get flying. Emax really does a nice job of thinking about how can I get into this hobby as easy as possible, and they've designed this drone to do that. So if you're looking for a ready-to-fly tiny whoop with everything, or just a super durable little quad, stay tuned and you're gonna learn a little bit more about it. Okay, so this little guy, unlike a lot of the drones on the market today in this 65mm style, isn't super light, right? It's 22 point something grams, and yeah, you can get them a lot lighter, but when you buy a light quad, you're gonna sacrifice durability. Emax was on a mission to make this as durable as possible, especially if you're a beginner. You wanna be able to crash this thing and survive the crash and fly it again. I have crashed this a bunch, and this frame is 100% intact. A lot of times I'll break a spindle. Those are usually one of the things that go, but no spindles broken here. Let's talk a little bit more about what we have, right? These are 08015 motors, so just a tiny little bit smaller, 22,000 kV, so they're not crazy. They have these new props that they designed for this motor, and I really like them. This thing is super stable. It is really easy to fly, especially with something that is so small. Sometimes you sacrifice stability when you go this small, but this thing is incredibly stable. The all-in-one is an F4 flight controller, and the VTX is power switchable up to 400 milliwatts. Now, if you're tiny whoop racing, you want to leave it on 25, but it is nice if you're flying around the house like I am to bump it up to 400, because I can go from my basement all the way up to the second level, and the picture's still pretty darn good. Now, this camera is a Nano 3 from Runcam, and it is analog. I'm not sure if they have plans to make an HD0 or anything like that, but that would certainly add a little bit of extra weight, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, one of the things other than these props and these motors, which are really nice, that's different and new, is this connector. This is an EM 2.0, and it is a lot larger than my BT 2.0 or my G&B. So sure, it adds a little bit of weight, but they say that it's gonna be a little bit more efficient. Now, I haven't done actual tests, but I can tell you that it is better than PH 2.0, 100%. Without a doubt, it is that. Now, it is supposed to be still even a little bit better than BT 2.0. It is a little bit larger, and it is open source. So Emax is letting other people use this connector if they're interested, and I think it's definitely worth a shot. Now, my package came with two 320 milliamp hour batteries, and I was getting about 3.5 minutes of flight time on these 320s. They say you should be able to get up to 4, but really flight time is how you fly and where you fly. When you're flying, all sorts of different factors go into play, and how low are you going to drain the battery, right? I was comfortable draining about 320, 330. Now, I did make myself a couple of 300 milliamp hour batteries just so that I had more to fly around with. And these 300 milliamp hour batteries is getting about 2.5 minutes of flight time. Now, they're smaller batteries. I made them myself, but you can do that, right? They included a couple of these extra connectors. I think I actually got 4 of these connectors, and I made 2 extra batteries, so that I had a total of 4. So I would fly 4 batteries, go charge them, do something, fly 4 more batteries, charge them, come back the next day, rinse and repeat. So I've got, gosh, I don't know, maybe 24 or so flights in 24 or so flights. That's what I'm talking about, my experience. Now, can I tell you how well this thing is going to last long term? No, I haven't had it long term. You know, I'm talking about 24 flights on this thing so far. I'm going to keep flying, and actually this guy is going to be donated to our local drone racing team. So these kids, I'm going to give this to high school kids to fly, so I'll update back on the durability, but I do like this frame. So far so good. Now this drone itself is about $110, and that's reasonable, right? Most of these tiny whoops cost about $100. This one's maybe a little bit more expensive, but again, a little bit more durable, going to last you probably a little bit longer. Now, if you're looking for the whole package, and it is really nice that it comes in this case, that's going to cost you about $260, and generally it's about $300 or more at a minimum to get started in this hobby. This controller is really pretty basic, but it is nice. I do like the sticks. We've got 4 switches here, and they do come labeled and pre-programmed, so you don't have to do any of that. Plus, I can also plug this thing into my computer and use it with a simulator, so I can get practice with this remote controller on my computer, so if I don't have to worry about killing my drone. They even do have a configurator that you can get from their website where you can add a binding phrase. I haven't done that yet, but that sounds pretty cool as well. These are the goggles. Now, I didn't fly a whole lot with these goggles. I don't find them really very comfortable, right? They just don't fit my face the way that I like. Plus, well, be honest, I'm spoiled. I have these goggles, so I use them. But I did try these. I did use them, and they do telescope out, so you can adjust them to your face. Like if you feel like the image is too close, like I did, kind of extend it out, and that'll work for you. The thing that I do really like about these goggles is the fact that this piece comes off. Can record, right? So it does have a DVR, that's really nice. And I can use this screen on my bench when I'm tuning things, when I'm trying to figure things out, or if you don't like flying with goggles on your face, you can just attach it to the controller and fly this way. I've had kids that kind of get nauseous under the goggles, and this is a great alternative, a different way to fly FPV. So if you're thinking, gosh, I don't like being secluded from the outside world, throw the screen on here and fly like this. My son does this sometimes. He has started to like to fly with goggles, but this is great to have another option, another way to fly. So no, this is not the fastest, it is not the lightest, but it does a lot of things really well. This thing is gonna last. This frame, really well built, and I think that is what Emax wanted to do. They wanted to build a drone that people could use and fly and wasn't going to break. Something else that is nice, right? These motors are plugged. A lot of times now drone manufacturers will solder the motors directly to the flight controller. Now that saves weight, but if something happens, you have to desolder and then resolder. It's kind of a pain. And working with kids in a drone club, we build and rebuild lots of different quads. And the ones that have motor plugs, just so much easier to deal with. We can swap out motors, we can swap frames, we can try different combinations. I like having motor plugs, even if it does add a little bit of weight. Now, I'm not the guy to test how great this new connector is, but I think somebody will. I can tell you it's as good, if not better, than the BT 2.0, and it is absolutely better than those old PH 2.0s. I'll probably convert a couple more PH 2.0s to these EM 2.0s, but I'm curious to see if other manufacturers start to adopt this connector instead. Here's another thing that Emax did that's really nice. This UFL connector on the VTX, they threw a dab of glue on there. I always say, guys, throw a dab of E6000 over this UFL connector because you don't want it to pop off. If it does, that'll create problems. And they did that for you. So that is a really nice touch. It's great to see manufacturers starting to do some of those things for us. If you're interested in getting one of these, I will have links down below in the description. Yes, it is an affiliate link. It helps support this channel, doesn't cost you a thing. It's just a way to say thanks if you like the review. Hope this was helpful. Good luck everyone and happy flying.